Jamie Fashon, the state treasurer for the Louisiana FFA.
And I'm Bryson Johnson, parliamentarian for Louisiana FFA. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. This week, we're taking over Twila for just a bit to celebrate our Louisiana FFA.
We had originally planned to do this a few weeks ago as part of National FFA Week, but that was the week freezing weather hammered the South. So we're celebrating now instead. Just like our beautiful state, Louisiana FFA has a very diverse past.
Our organization has made it a point to promote diversity through an inclusive environment for all members. This week, we introduce you to some alumni who helped make the FFA into a more diverse organization.
Mr. Jimmy Hughes was an ag teacher at Elizabeth High School for over 25 years. One of his favorite traditions was announcing the FFA Sweetheart. This was usually a high school girl from the Homemakers of America Association.
I felt like that if the girls would take an ag, the home ec program would have died. And they were very active in their organization, just like the boys were active in the FFA.
During Mr. Hughes' time at Elizabeth High School, he led 15 forestry teams to qualify for nationals and countless others to win area, state, and regionals. When asked why he enjoyed being an ag teacher, this was his response.
And I felt like it was just my duty to help them to do what I thought would help them later in life.
Dr. Mike Strain went to Covington High School in 1974 and was in the FFA throughout his 10th, 11th, and 12th grade year.
I was awarded the Star Green Hand and the Star Chapter Farmer while I was there. And so I was also an officer.
For a while, the FFA was restricted based on race and gender. However, Dr. Mike Strain was able to shed some light on the diversity during his time period in the FFA.
So, the diversity was just basically based on the student population. And when I went to school, we did have girls, right? And we did have diversity as far as racial diversity.
As soon as girls were able to join the FFA in 1969, their presence was almost immediate in all chapters throughout Louisiana.
In 1971, I had the first girl in agriculture.
Mr. Steve Vines is a current Winfield native in which he attended Winfield Senior High and actually was the ag teacher and FFA advisor at the same school for nearly 50 years before retiring last spring.
Started out with one young lady. She had poultry as a project. And then that program grew. When I actually retired, my chapter was about 40% girls.
It is the growing diversity of the FFA that is creating even stronger relationships and memories for its members.
They become a lifelong, not only friendship, but also, throughout life as a support team. You still, have strong relationships with people that you were in FFA with. You may not even went to class with them, but you still have those strong relationships all these many years later.
Thousands of former Louisiana FFA members across the state work in all industries today. Many are giving back to their communities and continue investing in the organization that helped them grow so much. With the Louisiana FFA, I'm Faith Thibodeau, your State Sentinel.
Hi, I'm Emerson Lyons, State Secretary for Louisiana FFA.
And I'm Elizabeth Richwine, Vice President for Louisiana FFA. In 2019 and 2020, Louisiana FFA members' supervised agriculture experience projects had an economic impact of $1.1 million, with nearly 20,000 hours invested into our communities.
Louisiana FFA has a history of very successful SAEs, and our members had no intention of slowing down when the COVID-19 pandemic struck. As our team shows you this week, 2 Louisiana FFA members even found national recognition this past year. Since the beginning of agricultural education, all students are required to have a supervised agricultural experience, also known as an SAE. A former Louisiana FFA member, William Gaspard, pursued an SAE in agriculture communications.
My SAE has provided a roadmap as to what I want to do for my future career. When I got involved in agricultural communications, I grew a love for communicating the joys and discomforts of agriculture to the general public.
In doing so, William has translated his SAE into a student worker job at LSU working with the College of Agriculture Communications Department. In this job, William has developed even more skills that will help in his future career.
I was able to develop those soft skills that were super beneficial for me now in college and also for my professional career.
The skills developed through an SAE can also still be seen on the farm.
My dad always said that if I find a job I like, just never feel like you're working.
Alex Walker, former FFA member from Quitman, established his SAE of vegetable production in high school and has now expanded it to a 20-acre operation.
Because this garden don't just feed my family, it feeds hundreds.
Alex has also had to adapt his business during the COVID pandemic.
Normally I set up on roadsides, and I can't really do that with COVID because they don't really want you to do that in today's society. So I've had to resort to online methods such as Facebook Market, and also at the Roasting Farmers Market on Saturdays. Y'all can find me there.
In October of 2020, both William and Alex were named national winners in their respective SAE areas, the first time Louisiana has ever had 2 winners in the same year. These 2 national winners are inspiring Louisiana FFA members to continue succeeding long into the future.
FFA is not about the now, it's about the past, the present, and the future, and that's what's different with FFA and ag classrooms than your traditional classroom settings.
FFA provides amazing opportunities for all students. The FFA is an organization founded upon leadership, hard work, and high-quality agriculture education, and we continue to provide avenues of success for all of our members. I'm Sydney Walker, Vice President for the Louisiana FFA.
Hi, I'm Megan Chasson, State Reporter for Louisiana FFA.
And I'm Caleb Lemoyne, President for Louisiana FFA. Louisiana FFA members who have graduated have the opportunity to become a part of our Alumni Association. Our alumni and supporters can be found all across the state.
They give their time and energy to advance agricultural education, agriculture, and FFA in Louisiana. We met with 2 alumni who are positively impacting farming and education.
Well, my time in FFA really is everything about me being in the farm. I wouldn't even be in this career if it wasn't for that.
FFA is hatching the future of agriculture. We became investigators and visited Kristen Wall, alligator farmer and past state FFA officer, to learn more about her family's operation and her role on the farm.
But once I got involved in FFA, I kind of realized my passion for agriculture. FFA just did so much for me and for my brother, who also is a part of the family business, and I think it was just really important for us and my parents who are still involved in the business. They just decided that it gave so much to their kids that they wanted to be able to give back to the organization that did so much for the 2 of us.
Working on her family's farm was the foundation of her career. Connecting with other like-minded students in FFA gave Kristen the chance to network and learn professional skills, all while exploring her passion for the industry.
The whole point in what you learn when you're an FFA member is really how to advocate for agriculture and how to tell the world why agriculture is so important and why we all feel so passionate about it.
FFA prepares members for careers inside and outside of production agriculture. So we met with Dr. Lori Richard to learn more about how her time in the Blue Jacket led her to professorship at Nicholls State University.
Located 60 miles from the Gulf of Mexico and in the middle of Cajun country, Nicholls State University sits along the heart of Bayou Lafourche in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Here, Dr. Lori Richard, a former member of the Midland FFA chapter, teaches graduate students in teacher leadership. Still, her work with agriculture has not stopped.
Just my time here at Nicholls, I really rely back on all of that educational experiences that I've learned throughout the years. The leadership skills, the parliamentary procedure, all of those things really have helped me to lay a great foundation for a career.
Like many, Dr. Richard credits FFA and ag education with developing the skills that allowed her to be so successful. Whether it be in the swamps of Springfield or under the mossy cypress trees of Thibodaux, Louisiana FFA alumni are serving as today's generation of agricultural leaders, making a difference for the betterment of the future agriculture industry.
Louisiana FFA is equipping members for successful careers in agriculture and beyond. For more information on Louisiana FFA alumni and how you can support the association, head over to twilatv.org. I'm Sadie Foster, your State Vice President for Louisiana FFA. I've got to say, it's been pretty fun here on Twila, but I think we should let you take it the rest of the way, Avery.
Oh, I think you guys should take it the rest of the way because y'all have done such an amazing job. I mean, nailing it first take almost every time. I don't do that ever. So thank you, Sadie, and all of the Louisiana FFA for coming over here, taking over Twila, and teaching us all a little bit about such a great organization. We're going to move on to what a lot of other folks are talking about because the weather is warming up and it is the perfect time to go out and enjoy some fresh Louisiana crawfish. In Lafayette, Crawfish Pot has live crawfish for $3.82 a pound live and boiled crawfish for $6 a pound. In Alexandria, you can visit Crawfish Port Incorporated and get some live crawfish for $3.29 a pound or buy them boiled for $5.69 a pound. Continuing north in Monroe, you can get some good prices at Chenier Shack Restaurant. There you can get live crawfish for $3.60 a pound or boiled for just under $5. That's at $4.95 a pound. Now, always call before you head out for the most up-to-date prices and check the Crawfish app to find all the places near you with crawfish. These prices are brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, which always reminds you to ask before you eat. Still to come on Twila, 31 years as Farm Bureau president and 78 days in the hospital fighting COVID. We look at the career of Ronnie Anderson following his latest honor. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Gert Hawkins. I'm a director with Louisiana Land Bank. Louisiana Land Bank employees really take care and cater to their stockholders. They put people and relationships first. I grew up in a farming family, and the majority of the employees with Louisiana Land Bank come from a farming background as well. They really understand the needs of a farmer. I know if I need help, I can get a person on the phone. If you're thinking about purchasing land, call Louisiana Land Bank.
It's a well-known fact that here in Louisiana, sugarcane is more than just a crop. It's a way of life. It creates more than 16,000 jobs across the state and an additional $3 billion boost to our state's economy. And Louisiana's cane families always give back to the communities where we live, work, and play. Louisiana sugarcane, making life sweeter, naturally.
Sugarcane, sweet sugarcane.
I'm a farmer.
I am a farm wife.
I am a cowboy.
I am a grass farmer.
I'm a businesswoman.
I'm a conservationist.
I am an advocate.
I am a voice for Louisiana farmers.
I'm always learning.
I'm a husband.
I'm a mom.
I am a dad.
I'm a granddad.
I am a consumer.
I grow the food that feeds your family, and I'm proud of it. I am Farm Bureau.
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 We are Farm Bureau.
There are 3 new inductees into the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction. The Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction is established to recognize the men and women who changed the landscape of the agricultural sector upon which we all depend. Those 3 new inductees are rice farmer and longtime rice industry leader Jackie Lower, 7th-generation sugarcane farmer and former president of the American Sugarcane League John Gay, and the man I called boss for much of my career on Twila, retired Louisiana Farm Bureau President Ronnie Anderson. Each of these pictures may be worth 1,000 words, but even when you put them together, they're still not enough to tell the story of Ronnie Anderson. This one describes Ronnie Anderson, the farmer, who at one time grew corn, wheat, soybeans, and milo. This one tells his story as a family man who married his high school sweetheart he took horseback riding on a cold January Sunday for their first date. This one speaks about the early mornings and hard days of milking 120 dairy cows in East and West Feliciana parishes. And this one, it tells of a man so dedicated to agriculture that he would volunteer 31 years of his life to lead the state's largest general farm organization, the Louisiana Farm Bureau. Elected president July 13, 1989, at the age of 41, Anderson followed the second longest-serving president of the Louisiana Farm Bureau, Jimmy Gronyard, who chose not to run again. Following a contentious election, Anderson called for unity.
Now's the time for us to mend our fences, put our voice back together as one, and proceed and to accomplish the good things that Farm Bureau was established for and what we now have been elected to try to perform.
Perform he did after being told by Gronyard of the demands that position brings.
You have a lot of responsibility, and all I'm saying is use it wisely. And I know you can and do a good job, and I'll help you any way I can. Thank you, Ronnie.
The demands that are put on the whole organization, but especially the president, is kind of overwhelming.
Back in 1989, his wife, Vivian, spoke about knowing her husband would be away from her and their children, Aaron and Ron Jr., for extended periods of time.
I've been home this summer, so I've enjoyed seeing him get ready to go to the office and go off to do things like that. But now starting school, because I'm a teacher and all, I'm sure we'll find out, or we'll meet ourselves coming and going a whole lot.
You might not know that, but Ronnie probably did at least 200 days a year working for Farm Bureau, and that was his volunteer job.
It was pretty amazing how he was able to delegate and manage and keep all those things going, and me as a child never knew or never even noticed how much he had going on.
It was always just a part of life and a part of what he did. I mean, he was a farmer, and then he had, his responsibilities with Farm Bureau, and it just was what life was like.
I don't know what's in store here.
Retired Louisiana Farm Bureau assistant to the president, Jim Monroe, has known Ronnie Anderson for more than 50 years, going back to college at LSU. 30 of those years, Monroe spent as Ronnie's right-hand man, driving him across the state to various meetings.
We had great conversations. We talked over the issues that we had to deal with. He was on the phone about 90% of the time. Then on the way back, he was asleep.
We wouldn't talk to each other before we went to the office, but we'd show up at the office with the same color pants, same color shirt, and not any connection with talking to each other about what we were going to wear. It got to be scary, really.
Louisiana Farm Bureau President Jim Harper says under Ronnie Anderson's leadership, membership grew from about 64,000 to 148,000. And with that came significant influence.
During Ronnie's presidency, our membership grew to over 140,000 members. We've got more influence in Baton Rouge at the Capitol and in Washington than we've ever had.
Ronnie Anderson seemed to be going out on top. The Louisiana Farm Bureau won the Pinnacle Award at the American Farm Bureau Convention in January of 2020. Anderson announced his plans to retire and not seek re-election in February of that year. Just 3 days before Ronnie Anderson's birthday, he began having trouble breathing and could not get out of bed.
When I got sick, I went in the hospital on March 18th.
The morning that Ron was here and we had to call the ambulance to take Ronnie to the hospital, our lives changed entirely.
Doctors at Baton Rouge General Hospital diagnosed Ronnie with COVID-19.
When he left in that ambulance, we had no idea that we would never see him again that day, and then in two, it would be months before we would ever have any other interaction with him where he was conscious and see him.
The doctors put Ronnie Anderson into a medically induced coma and hooked him up to a ventilator to breathe for him. Vivian posted updates on Facebook, which were compiled into this book. Ronnie was in that coma for more than 30 days. Talking about it now, he says there are only two things he remembers from the time he was in the coma.
My mother died in 2000. That was 20 years before I got sick. And she and I sat on her porch in the rockers and drank coffee. It's just clear as you and I standing here talking to each other. And the other thing was, I was in a really dark area, and off to the side I could see this big, it looked like a door. It was a big square thing, and it was dark, but it had a rim of light around it. And I don't want to get too carried away with where I was and where I came back from, but I think if that door had opened and I had passed through it, I wouldn't be here today.
I was really concerned. I had a call one Saturday afternoon that gave me grave concern.
That was the day doctors shocked Ronnie's heart to keep him alive. Vivian, Aaron, and Ron put out a call for prayers. Pray for Ronnie every day at 3:21 p.m.
When the doctors called that particular Saturday morning and said, we've done everything we know to do, Ronnie needs a miracle. And lo and behold, we got that miracle.
This is video of that miracle Aaron shot on her phone the day Ronnie Anderson was rolled out of Baton Rouge General Hospital to begin recovery at Promise Rehabilitation Hospital. And here he is, 78 days after the first ambulance ride, walking out on his own.
The day he came home, I don't think I've ever seen our children happier than that day.
Looking back, it still seems unreal. It almost seems like I was observing it from the outside, and it's hard to believe it's been nearly a year now that it all began, but I think it's been a blessing in a way that it's made us all more conscious of family and the importance of family and the importance of, you know, saying I love you every day and being in contact with each other every day.
It was a time that when you reflect upon it, you can do one of two things. You can cry about it, or you can be joyful that Ronnie's here with us today, and I choose to be joyful.
The Andersons are joyful for each other and that all are here to witness Ronnie Anderson's induction into the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction.
Having it bestowed on Ronnie this year after all he's been through, I think is really special. Not only for him personally, but for our family to see him honored this way. Because Ronnie really has, in my opinion, served the agricultural community over the years. He's been an advocate for farmers, an advocate for agriculture in general, and he's told the Farm Bureau story, and to me, he is the epitome of the Farm Bureau.
By the way, Ronnie Anderson continues to be involved in Farm Bureau as an ex officio member of the Board of Directors. He's also on the LSU Board of Supervisors and the Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company Board. Now, if you want to watch the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction ceremony in its entirety, you can find a link on our website, twilatv.org. Still to come on Twila, the iconic Blue Jackets. Where do they come from? We find out next in the Twila Boost.
Louisiana oysters, salty, sweet, and delicious. But have you ever thought about what happens to all those oyster shells? Most of them end up in trash cans and landfills. The Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana is changing this with its oyster shell recycling program, and you can help by visiting these participating restaurants. It's a simple and delicious way to restore our coast. The shells will then be used to sustain and rebuild oyster reefs. Remember, once you shuck them, don't just chuck them.
Landowners are minding the Louisiana forest for our grandchildren. A place for wildlife, recreation, lumber for homes. It's the right thing to do. Forestry, covering half our state, all of our hearts.
One iconic symbol of the FFA organization is that famous blue corduroy jacket. The jacket itself has a proud history dating all the way back to the 1930s. Today, FFA members still wear the blue jacket with pride, knowing they are part of something bigger than themselves. In this week's Twila Boost, we'll learn the story of how each jacket is produced and personalized by hand in Van Wert, Ohio.
In 1933, Dr. Littner from the Fredericktown, Ohio FFA chapter happened to see a jacket, corduroy jacket in a, what he called an old haberdashery store in Fredericktown, and that coat had a bulldog on the back of it, chain stitched with a manual chenille machine. And he said, well, that could be something that we could use for our chapter when we go to the convention. On the production side, there's actually 35 separate sewing operations into making every FFA jacket. We'll sew the front emblems on, the back emblems on, attach the belts, we'll attach the pockets next, zippers, prepare the sleeves with the sleeve placket. We'll hem the bottom, attach the cuffs and the collar, and bar tack the high stress area, the pocket, and then also add the buckle straps on the side and trim and inspect it. They will go through the front lettering department first, which is where we'll add the name, office, and year. Once that's done, we'll go through back lettering, which is a chenille embroidery machine, and a chain stitch on the back of the state and the chapter. The final step in the process is trimming the state and chapter and folding and shipping the jacket. One of the unique things I think is how important that coat and that tradition hasn't changed since 1933 when we helped design that first FFA jacket. That's just a very special icon of the organization, and we're very proud to be a part of that.
The National FFA Gift of Blue Project also provides jackets to members who would not otherwise be able to own their own. To learn how you can donate to give the gift of a blue jacket, visit our website at twilatv.org. Well, that does it for this edition of Twila. Be sure to join us next week when we'll have a brand new Field to Feast from one of the premier seafood shops in the state. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For all of us here at Twila, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.